Yeah, this is PET G. This is what they make face shields out of. And as I discover, it's UV stable, but it's not cold hard.
That's disposable face shields. Right?
Yeah, right.
I'm thinking wisecracks.
Yeah, the cold, it struggles when anything hits it in the cold because it just kind of shatters.
But it is UV resistant.
It's UV resistant, but I think what I'm going to do on these is I'm going to get that vinyl like you see in pubs and stuff, you know, that they roll down in sail window, sailboats, and just have it laying roll curtains down each year.
So you just pop these off the spring?
Yeah.
Oh, you got Velcro on there, but that didn't work?
It didn't work, yeah. As soon as it got cold, it was like, quitting.
The wind blows.
Yeah,
across
yeah.
it.
That's what happened. Yeah, exactly. You can't really see in it, but the whole idea was that it would be clear, but it's too reflective. There are big rings. Yeah.
Are you going to raise a lot of them, or?
Not with this pair. This pair, they're hit or miss. And unfortunately, the other two pair were new blood because the others had aged out.
What these over here?
These are lace necks. They did one pair this year, they had one clutch this year, and that was it. Like I said, I moved all these pins from the side of the building.
Is that where your raccoons were getting in over there or something?
No, that's not here. But I think they weren't getting enough sunlight because they were in shadow all day long, complete shadow. Used to not be that way, but trees grow, and I can't get them stopped putting leaves out.
So what are you going to take this off, like end of February or so, mid-February?
As soon as the nights are 40,
That could be next week.
Well, it could be tonight. You never know. In South Carolina, and it's kind of crazy weather. Our weather's nuts.
These things do anything this year?
Yeah, that's another pair of lace necks. They did a pair, and that's another young pair of green wings.
Are they producing?
They won't produce till this coming year. This pair.
How old they got to be? 2?
They'll do it a year. I just replaced them this spring. The others that
they fight if they're in colonies?
No, they do. The green wings do well in colonies. The lace neck.
What's the difference?
We had to learn that lesson over and over. I don't think any of this was here when y'all was here last.
I don't think the stuff in the center
There was, nor the 10's back behind there. Sorry.
The thick knees there, huh?
Thick knees and a pair of waddle. I mean, not waddle. Senegal. Senegal thick knees and waddle. They're fun little birds. Jody's thick knee, he's got a baby off of his.
Mm-hmm.
He's been like, okay. He didn't think it was going to do anything, and put away one egg and done.
What about this swamp hen over here?
Yeah, that's a female.
Is that the male?
That's the male there, and there's a female sitting.
Oh.
Here's what I was wanting to show you guys. I haven't got all the trees. I got to put some into decent peacock buildings. Okay.
What species of peacock pheasants do you have?
I've got gray, germains, and Palawans. Male, female. It was a hen. She started laying last year. I never got a fertile egg off of her. She molted. Came back. She's come back as a male with a crest and the blue in her neck. Hens don't have crest.
Yeah.
So they call it just sex reversal.
They call it intersex now.
Intersex, right.
It used to be called a hermaphrodite.
Right, but it's intersex.
Yeah, but
right.
that for years and years, all the guys are my age and older. It was always a hermaphrodite.
Right.
So anytime I say that now, everybody's like, That's intersex. It's
right.
It's the
Well, that's
same
what I was
damn
going to
thing.
say. It's they've changed the terminology.
So the ovaries actually, when they either lose, the estrogen hormones, and the ovary will actually start producing testosterone. That's where you get the coloring from.
Mm-hmm.
But then it will this ovary, which is now a functioning testicle,
Right.
can actually produce sperm off of it.
Right.
But the problem is there's no method of
Conveyance.
transporting
Right.
it
There's
to
no
the female.
conveyance.
Yep.
Right. I was going to do a small article about it just because this is the second time I've had it happen.
It's actually pretty common with pheasants.
10
It's
years
common
ago,
with waterfowl as well.
I had Edwards or Vietnamese pheasant. I had a line that they produced hens that,
Yeah, I think
was-
inbreeding will bring
right.
it out too.
Right.
Because we've got the Hawaiian ducks, and I'm going to say probably after like 2 or 3 years, as high as 50% of them.
oh really?
are
Okay.
ducklings. And the other thing with them is a lot of these intersex birds, hermaphrodite, whatever you want to call them, they'll start. So a lot of them, at least in the waterfowl, will start to show with cataracts in the eye. So the interesting thing is, if you look at humans, when humans start to, when they go into menopause, women, when they go into menopause, that's actually one of the signs that they could be heading toward menopause is cataracts in their eyes.
Wow. Physiology, the science is amazing to me.
I always wondered, why we can't do therapy on them to recover them
Right.
back to.
So basically you waste 3 years and go, oh, okay, that's wonderful.
Because there's got to be some plasticity with the sex on all these birds, and especially if they're changing to.
I mean, look, she's still molting now. See all the pins in her crown and all? And she's got full of pins all down her wings and coverts.
Because that's got to work the other direction to an extent too, because we'll see like sometimes with pheasants, they don't go through the whole phenotype change.
Okay.
But you'll see pheasants sometimes get broody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they'll sit on eggs. So there's got to be something more to it than just.
I had silvers that would sit, the males would sit and hatch eggs.
Yeah.
It's like,
I've had wood ducks that did it too.
But anyway, that's an interesting thing. I was frustrated this year. It's like, well, good thing I've got 2 other pair coming along, but not what I wanted to do. That's her fussing about us being here.
So we had to do a 5-gallon pill.
Take the garden hose and fill it up. It makes it easy when I got
You need to run
grow
a
out.
low pressure line.
So I try to do everything in dimension of 6, because where I am, I have to be under 6 feet tall. Can't go over that limit. And I get my wood at 12-foot length, so cut it in half, 6 feet. I don't like having scrap. So 6 feet works for me. A couple of them are based on 5 foot because that's all I could get at the time, but everything's 6 feet tall, 6 foot wide, 12, 18, or 24 deep. So that's that 1
What
inch
is this,
wide.
like 20 gauge?
It's 19 gauge before coating and supposedly 16 gauge after coating. It's not real heavy.
If I was raccoon, I'm pretty sure I could.
Maybe. I haven't had them break the wire. I've had them try to dig in. If you notice, everything's got wire coming out from under, at the floor. It's one reason I've gotten all the irises, because they kind of grow through the wire.
That's the Siberian irises, isn't it?
One of the things I wish I had done is done like Ron Johnson did, put his shelter to the center with a walkway in it, and the flight's going out from it. And the reason for that, during the season when they're laying eggs, I have to go all the way through the flight to get to the shelter, because they always lay their eggs back in the shelter. So I have to go all the way in, which means the birds and I at some point have to cross paths. It would be nicer to have the flights away, where I could just open the door, step a foot in, get eggs, shut the door, and disturb them as little as possible. The birds had been here for several years, it's not a big deal. They know who I am. I tend to wear the same color shirt when I'm working around the pens. Like right now, they're not happy because I never wear red around them, so they're like kind of having a moment. But I do wish I'd reversed all my pens so the shelters were towards the inside.
So why not just build some gates on the backside?
Because I hate cutting them. All the shelters on all the pens, I do 6 feet. Again, I use increments of 6 usually. So the shelters are 6 by 7 or 6 by 8, and the top is solid for 6 feet. The rest of it's just wire and open. I run sight barriers around all the pens at least 2 feet high. Most predators are visually oriented. My hope is if they can't see it, they won't bother it. That hasn't always held true, but for the most part it does. Usually when I see signs of a predator trying to get into the pen, it's right at the doors, because the doors, I don't put metal at the bottom of them. I want to be able to see before I open the door and not free range any of my pheasants. The metal is just the standard like metal building that I use. The wire, I use wire from a company called Critter Fence, and what I'm currently using, since it's up 2 feet, is a 19 gauge wire that's then vinyl coated. The wire's made here in South Carolina, and it's like 50 minutes away. I can run up and get it. They're running some wire for me right now that is 16 gauge that will not be vinyl coated, and I want the 16 gauge for some heavier bodied pheasants that we're hoping to add in. I just don't know about the bigger birds and the 19 gauge wire, so we're going to go with heavier wire for that.